Well, hello, I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter Tim Spiers at the unveiling of Paul Lambert as new head coach. Tim, he's here. What did you have to say? What do you think of the press conference?
I was quite impressed, actually. It was a bit more of an understated unveiling than perhaps we had for Walter Zenga, and obviously, when Fosun were here, it was a very different kind of situation when they were unveiled. It was a bit more, bit more quiet, a bit more understated, which I think is the right thing to do because if this is going to be happening every 3 months, they can't keep going. Putting the red ticker tape parade out whenever the new manager in. So but anyway, I was very impressed with how he spoke and what he said. He came across as very resolute, very determined, very amiable as well. Here to make his mark, and he looks like he's up for the challenge. I think a lot's been said about how much Villa took out of him. I think that was a while ago now. Yeah. And he thinks it's a good fit at a good time.
Exciting challenge, but a difficult challenge as well. Wolves find themselves only 3 points off the drop zone. It's not easy, is it?
It's not easy, and he's going to need longer than 3 months to sort it out, which obviously Zenga didn't get. So I think it's a pressure job, and there's a lot of expectations there for him. I mean, Kevin Thelwell said that the playoffs are still the target this season, which is a tough ask.
It's a big statement as well. It's a bold statement.
They're winless in 7. They've got 30 players if everybody's fit. We've got a lot of unhappy players, a lot of players out of form, an unhappy fan base. Things have turned quite quickly really this season. So he has got a big job on his hands, but I think if he goes about it in the right way, obviously. But I think he'll probably need to upset a few characters, but do it with justification. I mean, there's no room for a nice guy at the moment. I think a lot of Wolves players need a few kind of card hold truths. Yeah, and it sounds like he's certainly going to give them that.
Kevin Thelwell said he was the first person to be interviewed, the last person to interview. He was interviewed 3 times in total. Are we aware of exactly who was interviewed in the meantime, and was he always the number one choice?
We believe he was the number one choice from the first round of interviews, and I know certainly understand that Kevin was very, very impressed with him from the outset, really, kind of fitted the mould that they wanted. Nigel Pearson was certainly one who came close to it as well. We know we had a couple of interviews. Paul Litz was another one that spoke to. We believe Tim Sherwood was as well. So there were quite a few candidates in the running, but I think it became clear quite early on to Wolves that Lambert was the right man for them. And obviously they've done their due diligence. They've taken their time with this. They didn't want to be seen to be rushing into it. Jeff Shee and Fosun have been involved every step of the way.
Not here today?
No, not here today. He went back to Shanghai after it was all done and dusted, basically on Friday. I think was when the decision was finally made, and he's gone back. He wasn't at the game on Saturday. So, they've done their background checks on him. They've obviously spoken to people at Norwich and Villa and Blackburn, and come to their decision. And I think, from the list of available candidates, it's the right decision.
And he has got it on his CV that he has taken a team up to the Premier League, and ultimately that's what he said he wants to achieve here, and that's exactly what everyone else does as well.
Yeah, well, he's only had one full season in the Championship, and he got Norwich up during it. I think he had the difficult 6 months of Blackburn last year, and he's just gone over it with us, really, in case it wasn't clear anyway that he had his hands tied behind his back at Villa and Blackburn, basically. I didn't speak in glowing terms about Villa at all. And I always thought he did a good job there, keeping up a very young team on a tight budget, kept them in the league in successive seasons. The football wasn't great, but he knew what he had to do.
And when he left and they got money, they went down.
Yeah, exactly. And at Blackburn, it seems that perhaps promises were made that they were going to have a real go at it.
We know about Venky's, don't we?
And that wasn't really, those promises weren't delivered, which is why he had to enter the clause in his contract to leave. So a couple of really tough jobs. Which it's difficult to judge him on, but he's certainly been, no disaster at either of those clubs, and you look at what he did with Norwich, and that bodes very well for Wolves, I think, and Wickham as well. He tends to get at those two clubs, Wickham and Norwich. He got the best out of his players, and that's what he'll need to do here.
1 year rolling contract, we believe, which is that the same as what Walter Zenga was on?
Yeah, it's the same that Wolves have done it for a little while now. It worked. I think Mick McCarthy was the first manager who had it. It worked really well under Mick, and they've kept it going since. So I think that's the best move for all parties. Backroom
staff, what are we looking at the moment?
So Stuart Taylor's come in as a first team coach, someone he knew at Villa. He was a youth coach at Villa. He'll be alongside Rob Edwards, who'll also be a first team coach. I gather there are no plans to bring in an assistant at the moment. In fact, Paul's just confirmed that as well. He has had a few assistants before that are dotted around the place. Ian Culverhouse, who did fantastic work with Paul Lambert at Norwich, left Villa under a bit of a cloud. Yeah. He's now at Dagenham. Roy Keane is obviously with Ireland, who was
much talked about.
And Alan Irvine was with him at Blackburn, former Albion manager, of course. He's at Norwich City now.
Yeah.
So no plans to bring the assistant. He says he's going to see how it works with Stuart and Rob and take it from there.
Do you think that means that they might not appoint anyone then?
Yeah, possibly. You can read into that. Yeah, I think there certainly seems to be a general sense of simplifying things at Wolves at the moment. I mean, they did have a team general manager in Andrea Buti. They don't anymore. I think we've seen less of an influence of George Mendes in this as well. It's very much been Jeff Shee and Kevin Thelwell's search for his replacement, which I think is a good thing, because there's been too many opinions and too many voices at Wolves recently. You need a vision, and you need everyone on board in that. You don't need too many opinions and too many decision makers, as there were in the process. So I think things are simplified now. I think Lambert will have more of a say in transfers than Zenga did. Zenga just didn't take any part in it. And if Lambert's got great experience of young British players who are proven in the Championship. So I think Wolves fans would like to see a few more of those type of players come in January.
Walter Zenga, Paul Lambert, two completely contrasting individuals. Are Fosun admitting they got it wrong now?
Yeah.
They are completely different, aren't they?
Yeah.
In all the way they approach the game.
They're admitting they get it wrong in the decision that they've made, and they also alluded to it in the statement as well. I mean, they're learning as well. You could say the 3 months apart from the players that have come in have been a bit of a write-off, to be honest. Zenga's come and gone. Not much has gone well on the field. I think the playoffs are a massive long shot this season, personally.
Yeah.
So they've got a huge squad. It's not like when Lambert came in at Norwich and he had maybe a smaller squad that just needed a bit of adding to it. Now, you need to be getting rid of players for a start. 30 is just ridiculous in the Championship. So he's got a lot of work to do in that respect. And January's going to be a really interesting month.
He's talked about some of the guys, and obviously the overseas lads coming in. It's a very difficult transition to make. But we do expect quite a few to leave, don't we? He's saying that he might bring one or two in, but I would have thought that it'd be at least one or two leaving if he wants to cut that squad down.
Well, I think it remains to be seen what will happen, but I think what he has to do is bring in a clinical goal scorer and a commanding and experienced centre half. If Mike Williamson's not going to be available, which we're not sure about at the moment. For me, just a couple of key players coming in, and then you need to do some trimming. And they've got 5 players on loan. I doubt all 5 of those will survive January, to be honest. You've got James Henry coming back from Blackburn. You've got players who are just completely frozen out, like Jack Price and Paul Gladon at the moment. Yeah. So I think we will see a fair bit of movement, actually, but I don't think we'll see a huge amount of players come in. But there is money available to be spent anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we know in terms of figures how much money there is available or not? I mean, no,
it's not clear at this stage, but I think the money that Fosun have, they spent 14 million in the summer. I'm sure you could see them. This is a personal opinion, spending 6 or 7 million in January. As long as these players are going to be good enough, to play in the Premier League one day, you don't want this high turnover of players at every single window. Yeah. So I think it'll be about a couple of key additions.
And those key additions, I mean, he's got a great track record of doing that. Christian Benteke, of course, coming in from Genk, and Ron Vlaho, who's your typical strong centre back. So he knows what's going to make a player at that level and in the Premier League level, and that's got to bode well for the team. Yeah,
well, at Norwich as well, he brought in Anthony Pilkington, Bradley Johnson as well, and many more who are still at Norwich. So he knows how to pick a bargain, perhaps in the Mick McCarthy mould. But he spent big money at Villa and got it right as well. So that bodes well. I think the key is that he has a big say in how this all works, and we're led to believe, listening to today's press conference, that is the case. That he'll have a say in identifying players, in signing players. That he's able to veto signings as well.
I think that would have been one of the terms and conditions that he wanted to be involved in the whole signing process.
I think especially after his last couple of experiences at Villa and Blackburn, I think he'll have been asking for that control as well. Because you can't just come in and be a head coach and have players thrown at you. I don't think that works, and I think that seems like it was the case under Zenga. So it's got to be somebody's vision to bring it all together. He's the one that coaches the players. He's the one that picks the teams. He's the one that's culpable. He's the one that loses his job if results don't go well. So it's got to be his players coming in. It certainly sounds like that's going to be the case, which I think bodes really well. And they've got a couple of months now to identify, like I said, a few key players to really take the squad to the next level.
Not the sexiest choice in the world, but I feel like the fans are starting to come round to it.
Yeah. I think Big Sam's name came out right at the start.
As he is with everybody, every job that's going to come up.
As he is with everybody, but he's if everyone's compared to Big Sam, they're going to come up short, aren't they?
Yeah.
Certainly in terms of British managers. And then you had Andre Villas-Boas been mentioned as well. I mean, this is all just fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, just because he's had dinner with George Mendes once.
Yeah.
You know, they think he's going to come to Wolves. It's not the case. But I think once the kind of final five candidates were released, and then you know, like I said, Wolves took their time with this. So fans had got used to the idea that it's going to be one of these guys. It's going to be Pearson or Lambert or Sherwood or Dougie Freeman or whoever, you know. And I think when you analyse that group, which fans had a few days to do, Lambert was the clear choice. And I think if you look at his record and you look at the mitigating circumstances that we've spoken about at Villa and Blackburn, he's a very shrewd choice. I think it's a good fit personally. He's just going to need that time. So it's whether he gets that time.
Well, exactly. I mean, a lot of the fans are saying, and I guess it's Fosun have set a precedent, getting rid of Kenny Jackett. 3 months later, Walter Zenga goes. Is he going to be another one? And I guess the answer is we don't know that yet.
We don't know, but if I was to guess, I would say they don't want to go down that route. They don't want to be a Leeds of hiring and firing managers every few months. They want stability. They want this to be a long-term appointment. Now, it's just how patient they are as far as getting to the Premier League goes. I think if you gave Paul Lambert 3 years to get this club to the Premier League, he would get this club to the Premier League.
But
But has he got that long? Has he got to be in the playoffs this season? Have they got to be looking at a title bid next season?
Yeah.
Maybe. You know what pressure is on him? I think personally, you've got to give him until the end of next season. I don't think you can be looking at top six this year. I think it's too much to ask.
But that's what I'm saying. Haven't they set a precedent now that they're saying, okay, he said that Newcastle are unreachable, which I think everybody understands that they're the best team in the league. But from second, they're not ruling out second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So, you know, as Jeff Shee gone to him, look, here's till the end of the season. Let's be in the playoffs. And if not, is it going to be seen as a failure? And are they going to chop and change again?
I think they just don't want to be seen to be right enough this season yet, to be honest. Personally, I hope that expectation isn't there for Lambert, because I think the top six will be too much of a stretch this season. I mean, Kevin Thelwell said to us that he's not necessarily expecting a top six finish this season. I think they just want to see improvement. I think if they're in the top 10 with a shot at the playoffs come April, I think you'd settle for that. But then the pressure's going to be immediately on next season in that scenario that he's got to be looking at top two almost immediately and get off to a flying start. So I think there's just got to be a bit of realism that, do you know what, the Championship is better than it's ever been, right? And you can't just come in and sign 12 players and get promoted.
No,
it doesn't work like that, especially with a manager who's never been in this league before. So it's got to be a long-term plan. You know, they've got to show that they know what they're doing, because, like I said, it's so competitive. You know, the amount of sackings we've seen already this season, the clubs that are even below Wolves in the table that you think should be aiming at the top six. You look at Derby, absolutely fantastic team. Played Wolves off the park in the first half, and they were below Wolves in the table before the game. So it just shows you how strong this league is now, and there's no quick fix to this. It's got to be a long-term plan. Personally, I think, like I said, Lambert would get them promoted within 3 years, but would he get that long? Probably not.
What does Paul Lambert bring to the team? What sort of style are we looking to see from his Wolves?
I think it'd be quite a modern style of football. You know, we know how much he loves the German game. Always going over there to study coaching techniques. You know, he's
very studious man.
Studious, yeah. I mean, he's knows Jurgen Klopp very well. He goes to Dortmund a lot, Bayern Munich, Guardiola, Ancelotti at Real Madrid.
Well, so we're getting Man City and Liverpool low knees. We'll take that.
But you know what? You learn from the best.
Yeah.
And you hope it rubs off on you. And if he can take the best ideas and methods from those clubs, then Wolves will be onto a good thing, won't they? So I think we'll see a bit of a reversal in the number of foreign players in the team. I think he'll be looking to play attacking football on the floor, and I think Fosun will demand that of him.
Quite a few people, obviously, Danny Bart's coming in for some criticism at the moment, saying could he change captain? I guess it's wait and see and see what the situation is there.
It's a very risky move to do that. We've seen that before. To Mick McCarthy when he took it off Carl Henry and gave it to Roger Johnson. I mean, that was an absolute disaster. I don't really see why that's a priority at the moment. You know, this in England we've got this fixation with whoever's wearing that armband.
Yeah.
Who cares? You know, David Edwards was shouting and bawling. You know, like we expect our captains to be on Saturday. You had Conor Cody in the team.
Yeah.
If they're all in the team, you know, it's this mythical kind of armband.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Danny's going through a real tough patch at the moment. I think there are far bigger issues at hand here.
Absolutely.
And he's, you know, I've said it a few times on Twitter, although it's absolutely disgusting, the treatment he got on Saturday. But there is a question here for Lambert. Does he take him out the firing line? Because I think most people would agree with that he needs a bit of a break, and to be taken out the firing line. He's played a lot of football since coming back from injury last season, and his confidence is shot by the look of it to me.
He's met the players and the backroom staff this morning at Compton. Was he in charge of the players? Was he taking training to the lads who weren't there?
I believe so. I believe they're taking training today. I think it's kind of more of a general kind of overseeing role while Rob Edwards takes charge at the moment. So, but yeah, it's good that he's got a couple of weeks for the first game away at Preston.
Absolutely.
And then the first home game, really hoping for a big crowd for that game. Half price tickets. It's Bully and Tomo's 30th anniversary game. So that could be great. That could be a really good start for him at home in front of a big crowd at Molineux, which we haven't seen this season. So yeah, there are a few internationals away at the moment, but not too many. He will have the bulk of a very large squad to be working with over the next couple of weeks. I think it's good they haven't got a game on Saturday, especially with the way things went against Derby.
Sure.
A lot of anger in the crowd. It's very edgy. So yeah, he'll have a couple of weeks with his players and formulate a game plan for that Preston match.
He said that the fans are incredible. Don't change. He wants the players to change. He said some of them have got to pull the socks up, but he said fans do not change. Incredible atmosphere, incredible support, and I guess it is going to be important that he clicks with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, he said that. I think that's the main reason he's taken the job. Well, the main allure of the job is the fan base, and it's a huge club and a huge challenge for him. And we heard it a lot with Walter Zenga. They want the stadium full. There's no better place to play, in my opinion, when the fans are with you. Conversely, when they're against you, it's a very, very difficult place to play. But that's what you get with very passionate supporters. So yeah, you've got to win them on side, and you'll only do that with results. It's pure and simple. I thought Wolves played some nice football under Zenga, but they weren't winning matches. So it's all about results at the end of the day.
Right choice for you?
Yeah, out of the list that they had, certainly. I was quite impressed with him, actually. Like I said, very amiable character, comes across as very resolute. I mean, he's his own man. I mean, he's had 6 managerial jobs and he's left 5 of them of his own accord.
Yeah.
He's a forward thinker, going abroad on his own, learning new things. I mean, he's 47, he's no spring chicken in today's managerial climate where a lot of managers are younger. But he's trying to bring new ideas on board. He's ambitious. I think it could be the right man at the right time.
Paul Lambert is the new head coach at Wolverhampton Wanderers. For all the reaction on this press conference, make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.